September 1945. Audie Murphy returned to America a hero. Most decorated soldier in United States history. 33 medals, Medal of Honor, front page news, parades, fame. But every night Audie woke up screaming. Every night he reached for the loaded pistol under his pillow. Every night he saw their faces. Brandon, the 50 Germans, the 240 men he killed. America called him a hero. Audie Murphy felt like a ghost. This is episode 4, The Battle After the War, the enemy inside his mind. The troop ship arrived in New York Harbor late September 1945. Thousands of soldiers crowded the decks. When the Statue of Liberty appeared, they erupted, cheering, throwing caps, hugging, crying. The war was over. They survived. They were home. But Audie Murphy stood alone at the railing watching the skyline and felt nothing. Soldiers around him talked constantly about seeing families, kissing wives, holding children, eating real food, sleeping in real beds, returning to normal lives. But Audie had no family waiting, mother dead, father vanished, siblings scattered across Texas struggling to survive. No wife, no girlfriend, no children, no home. Just memories of a dirt farm that no longer existed and a childhood he could never return to. The Army processed returning soldiers quickly. Medical checks, final pay, discharge papers. Audie Murphy received honorable discharge. First lieutenant, 20 years old, 3 years at war, 3 years of continuous combat. He had killed more enemy soldiers than most men in the entire Army. The military handed him papers and said, "Good luck. Go be civilian, go be normal," as if normal was possible after Sicily, after Italy, after France, after the burning tank. Press found him immediately. Reporters surrounded him. Photographers snapped pictures, flashbulbs exploding. They wanted interviews, stories about America's most decorated soldier, the hero from Texas, the farm boy who became legend. They asked how it felt to be home, how it felt to be hero, how it felt to kill so many Germans. What was the burning tank like? Did he feel proud? Did he feel patriotic? Audie gave short answers, polite, distant, factual, emotionless. He did not want to talk about war, did not want to relive it for entertainment. Reporters kept pushing, kept demanding dramatic quotes. They wanted the hero story. Audie gave them nothing. Life magazine wanted feature story. Photographer followed him for days. Pictures in uniform, pictures with medals, pictures looking heroic. But the camera could not capture what lived behind his eyes. The exhaustion, the emptiness, the constant vigilance. Audie never relaxed. Eyes constantly scanning for threats, hands near his waist where pistol would be. He flinched at loud noises. Crowds made him nervous. He felt exposed without cover, vulnerable without weapon. Something was wrong, something the war had broken, something that would not heal. The nightmares started the first night home. Audie stayed with distant relative in Texas. Small house outside Dallas, his own room, his own bed, clean sheets, warm blankets, safe, comfortable. Everything soldier dreamed about during war, but Audie could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he was back in combat, back on burning tank, back in Sicily watching Brandon die, back in Italy killing Germans close range. The faces came in waves, dozens, hundreds, all the men he killed, all the friends he lost. They stared, accused, blamed. He woke up screaming, drenched in sweat, heart pounding, gasping, reaching for rifle that was not there, disoriented, confused. It took minutes to remember where he was, to realize he was in Texas, in-house, in America, no Germans, no combat, no war, safe. But his body did not believe it. Heart still raced, hands still shook, breathing still panicked. Adrenaline did not care war was over. His body was still in combat mode, still ready to fight, still ready to kill or be killed. Relative knocked on door, asked if okay. Audie lied, said fine, just bad dream, nothing to worry about, go back to sleep. But it was not just bad dream. It was every night, multiple times per night, sometimes 5 or 6 times, each time screaming, each time covered in sweat, each time reaching for weapons that no longer existed. Sleep became enemy. Rest became impossible. Audie started staying awake as long as possible, days sometimes. He drank coffee, pot after pot, walked around house in dark, sat outside watching stars, smoked cigarettes, anything to avoid sleeping, anything to avoid nightmares, but exhaustion always won. Body would shut down, and nightmares would return, stronger, more vivid, more real. 2 weeks later, Audie bought pistol. Colt, 1911, same model from war. Weight felt familiar, comforting. He bought ammunition, loaded magazine, chambered round, engaged safety. That night he slept with loaded pistol under pillow, within reach. Just in case what? There were no enemies in Texas, no German soldiers, no threats. But Audie's mind did not understand. His mind was still at war, still on high alert, still expecting attack any moment. The loaded gun helped, not much, but enough. One night, car backfired outside. Audie was out of bed instantly, pistol in hand, crouching, ready to fire, scanning for targets. Took several seconds to realize where he was, to understand no danger, to lower weapon. His hands shook, whole body shook. War was over, but his body had not received message. Relative noticed changes, noticed paranoia, sleeplessness, constant tension, suggested doctor. Audie refused. Nothing wrong, just needed time to adjust, just needed to get used to civilian life. But deep down, Audie knew truth. Something was broken inside, something war destroyed, something that might never be fixed. Then Hollywood came calling, offered Audie escape from nightmares, or so he thought. James Cagney saw Audie's picture in Life magazine. Famous actor struck by Audie's face, young, handsome, but something in eyes, depth, pain, story. Cagney thought Audie could be movie star, reached out through military contacts, invited Audie to Hollywood, offered to help get into acting, no experience required, just come to California, see what happens. Audie had no other plans, no job, no career, no education beyond 5th grade. Army trained him to kill, no civilian application for that skill, so he went to Hollywood. January 1946, 6 months after returning from Europe. $50 in pocket, duffel bag with everything he owned, no acting experience, no connections except Cagney, no idea what he was doing. Hollywood was overwhelming. Lights, cameras, beautiful people everywhere, studios, scripts, auditions, world completely alien to farm boy from Texas who spent last 3 years killing Germans. Audie felt out of place, felt like fraud, but needed money, needed to send money home to siblings still struggling. So he tried. First auditions were disasters. Audie could not act, could not fake emotion, could not pretend. He stood in front of cameras and froze. Directors told him, relax, be natural. Audie did not know how to be natural anymore. 3 years of war taught him suppress emotion. Stay cold, stay focused, survive. Turning that off was impossible. Casting directors looked at resume. Most decorated soldier, Medal of Honor, war hero. They saw publicity value, ticket sales, but also saw wooden actor who could barely deliver lines. They gave him small roles, bit parts, background characters, soldier number 3, guy in crowd, nothing substantial. Audie took work. It paid, not much, but enough to send money home. But acting meant pretending to be at war, playing soldiers, filming combat scenes, surrounded by fake gunfire and fake explosions and fake deaths. Every day on set triggered memories, real gunfire, real explosions, real deaths. Audie would stand on movie set and see Sicily, see France, see burning tank. Line between acting and remembering blurred. Directors thought he was method acting, going deep into character. They did not realize Audie was reliving trauma. Sound of blank ammunition firing made his heart race, made him dive for cover, made his hands reach for weapons. Explosions threw him back to combat zones. Fake blood looked too real. Actors pretending to be dead looked too much like corpses. Between takes, Audie isolated himself, shaking, sweating, trying to separate fiction from memory, trying to remember this was just movie. But his body did not know difference. Nightmares got worse. And Audie started drinking to make them stop. Alcohol helped, not much, but enough. Few drinks before bed meant nightmares less vivid, less frequent, less real. Audie started drinking every night, whiskey mostly, enough to dull edges, enough to quiet screaming in head, enough to sleep few hours without waking in panic, but amount needed kept increasing. 2 drinks became 4, 4 became 6. Within months, heavy drinking every night. And still barely sleeping? Doctors in 1946 did not understand trauma, did not have treatments for what would later be called post-traumatic stress disorder. They told veterans be tough, move on, forget about war, as if forgetting was possible, as if memories could be erased, as if 3 years of killing and dying could just disappear. Audie tried to date, met women at Hollywood parties, beautiful actresses, aspiring starlets, attracted to war hero, Medal of Honor winner, handsome young soldier. But relationships were impossible. Audie could not connect, could not open up, could not explain what was wrong. Women would ask about war, about combat, about medals. Audie would change subject, shut down, push them away. Intimacy required vulnerability. Audie had built walls too thick to break down. Acting career stalled. Small roles dried up. Studios lost interest. Medal of Honor could only carry him so far. He needed talent, needed training, needed to actually become actor instead of just being war hero standing in front of cameras. Audie enrolled in acting classes, tried to learn craft. But classes focused on emotional expression, on accessing feelings, on being vulnerable, everything Audie trained himself not to do to survive war. Money became tight. Small paychecks from bit parts not enough. Audie could barely support himself in expensive Hollywood, could barely afford rent and food, definitely could not send money home like he wanted. He considered giving up, going back to Texas, finding manual labor, construction, oil fields, farm work, anything that paid, anything that did not require pretending. But going back meant admitting failure, meant facing siblings who believed he was successful, meant accepting he had no future. Gun under pillow stayed loaded every night, safety on but ready. Audie told himself for protection, but protection from what? No threats in Hollywood, no enemies, no danger. Except danger inside his own head. Thoughts that came late at night when alcohol wore off and nightmares returned. Thoughts about how easy it would be to end it, to stop pain, to stop memories, to finally rest. 1 bullet, that was all it would take. He had ended lives of 240 enemy soldiers. Ending his own would be simple, quick, final. Thoughts scared him, but also made terrible sense. Then, 1948. Publisher offered Audie chance to tell his story. Everything changed. New York publisher contacted Audie, wanted autobiography, tell his story, childhood poverty, joining army, Sicily, Italy, France, burning tank, Medal of Honor, everything. War memoirs were popular. Public wanted to hear from veterans, wanted to understand what they'd been through, wanted heroic stories. Publisher offered advance $3,000, not fortune, but enough to live on for a year, enough to send money home. Audie accepted. Writing was torture. Every word forced Audie to relive war, to remember things he tried to forget, to describe events that haunted his dreams. He wrote about Texas, about poverty, about mother dying, about father abandoning family, about hunting to keep siblings from starving. He wrote about being rejected by Marines and Navy and paratroopers, about lying into Army. He wrote about Sicily, about first kill, about vomiting after, about watching Brandon die. He wrote about Italy, about mountains, about cold and endless combat. He wrote about France, about burning tank, about calling artillery on own position, about killing 50 Germans in 1 hour. He wrote about Medal of Honor ceremony. But he could not write about nightmares, could not write about loaded gun under pillow, could not write about drinking, could not write about how broken he felt. Publisher wanted heroic story, inspiring story showing what brave American soldiers accomplished. They did not want story about trauma and mental illness and psychological damage. That would not sell books, would not inspire readers. So Audie wrote what they wanted. He wrote legend, not reality. He wrote Audie Murphy the hero, not Audie Murphy the haunted survivor who could barely function. Book was titled To Hell and Back. Published 1949. Became immediate bestseller. Critics praised it. Veterans bought it. Non-veterans bought it. Everyone loved story of poor Texas farm boy who became America's most decorated soldier. Audie Murphy was famous again, not just war hero, but author, storyteller, American icon. Book success brought money, real money, tens of thousands in royalties. First time in life, Audie was financially secure, could afford decent apartment, could buy car, could send substantial money home to siblings, could stop worrying about rent and food. Money did not solve problems, did not stop nightmares, did not make gun under pillow unnecessary, but removed one major source of stress. Hollywood came calling again, serious offers this time. Universal Studios bought movie rights to Hell and Back, wanted major motion picture, big budget war film, and wanted something unprecedented, wanted Audie Murphy to play himself, to star in own story, never been done before. Non-actor with minimal experience playing himself in major studio production, but Universal believed Audie's authenticity would make movie special, would make it real, would resonate with audiences. Audie hesitated. Playing himself meant reliving war on camera, meant acting out Brandon's death, meant recreating burning tank scene, meant spending months immersed in memories that already destroyed him every night. But Universal offered huge money, percentage of profits, top billing, everything struggling actor could dream of. Audie needed money, needed to secure future, needed to help family, so he signed contract. Making To Hell and Back would push Audie Murphy to edge of collapse. Filming began 1954. 9 years after war ended, Audie was 29, but playing 20-year-old self meant becoming that person again. Scared kid who landed on Sicily, traumatized soldier who watched best friend die, desperate lieutenant who climbed burning tank. Every day on set was torture. Wardrobe dressed him in exact uniform from combat. Props gave him exact weapons. Set designers recreated locations where real battles happened, where real men died, where Audie killed and nearly been killed. Director wanted authenticity. Realistic combat scenes, explosions and gunfire and blood and chaos that looked like real war. Special effects teams created massive explosions, pyrotechnics everywhere, blank ammunition firing constantly, actors falling covered in fake blood, screaming, dying, too real, too familiar. Audie would stand filming and flash back to France, to Italy, to Sicily. His hands shook, breathing accelerated, vision narrowed, body prepared for combat. Between takes, Audie isolated himself. Sat alone in trailer, shaking, sweating, sometimes vomiting. Crew thought he was dedicated, method acting. They had no idea he was having panic attacks, was reliving actual trauma, was barely holding together. Director praised his intensity, his commitment, his authenticity, did not realize he was watching man slowly breaking apart. Burning tank scene was worst. Set designers built replica M10, rigged with propane flames and smoke machines. Scene called for Audie to climb onto burning tank, stand on top while explosions went off, fire 50 caliber machine gun at actors playing Germans, do it over and over for different angles. Director wanted it perfect, wanted it dramatic. Audie climbed onto that replica tank and was transported back to January 26, 1945, back to Holtzfear. Back to coldest day of his life, back to moment he killed 50 men. Heat from flames was real. Smoke choked him. Noise was overwhelming. His hands gripped machine gun exactly as they had 9 years earlier. His finger found trigger. His body remembered every movement. And for those moments he was not acting. He was there. He was back. He was killing again. Scene took 3 days to film. 3 days of climbing onto burning tank repeatedly. 3 days of reliving worst moment of his life. By end, Audie was non-functional, could barely speak, could barely move, sat in trailer staring at nothing. Movie was released 1955. Massive success. Universal's highest grossing film that year. Critics praised it. Audiences loved it. Veterans saw it multiple times. Audie Murphy became major Hollywood star overnight. Offers flooded in. Every studio wanted him. He made over 40 films in next 15 years, became one of most popular actors in Hollywood, made millions, bought ranch, married, had children, achieved everything America defined as success. But behind fame and money and family, Audie Murphy was barely holding together. Nightmares never stopped. Gun under pillow stayed loaded every night. Alcohol consumption increased, whiskey before bed, sometimes during day. He developed insomnia so severe, sometimes went 3 or 4 days without real sleep. His hands shook from exhaustion, eyes burned constantly. But sleep meant nightmares. Nightmares meant reliving everything. So he stayed awake, worked constantly, kept busy, kept moving, because stopping meant thinking. Thinking meant remembering. Remembering meant pain. By 1960, Audie Murphy, famous for 15 years, movie star for decade, had money and family and success, but every single night reached for loaded pistol under pillow. Every single night woke in terror. Every single night saw faces of men he killed and friends he lost. War ended 15 years ago, but for Audie Murphy, war never ended. It lived inside him, permanent, inescapable. And then Audie Murphy did something that shocked Hollywood and America, something that cost him roles and money and reputation. He told truth. He admitted he was broken. He spoke publicly about nightmares and insomnia and addiction to sleeping pills. He became first major public figure to talk openly about what would later be called post-traumatic stress disorder, and backlash nearly destroyed him. Next episode: the pills, the addiction, the public confession that ended career, the moment Audie Murphy told America truth about what war really does to soldier, and price he paid for being honest.